Good morning, everyone. We're live on YouTube. Yep, it seems to be working. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get live on Instagram as well. All right. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Another week, another coffee break. Exciting one this week. We got a bunch of exciting stuff happening over the next week, really over the next month. The next little bit here is about to be some exciting stuff going on at Foundation. Some exciting can be I can feel the momentum coming. We got a lot of stuff planned rolling right into Worlds, and then it's gonna hit USDGC, and then it's gonna be Black Friday, and then we're gonna blink and we're gonna wake up and it's gonna be Christmas morning. So it all starts today. Next thing you know, it's Christmas. That's the type of mood we're in right now. Disc releases this week as we wait for some people to roll in on both platforms here. Um, We've got it. Oh, by the way, on YouTube, let me know if you can hear me because I was having some issues with my AirPods earlier. So I want to make sure I'm actually coming through. I feel like I ask that every week, but one of these days I'll be confident when I hit go live that it's actually coming through. But disc releases this week. I guess make sure on Instagram as well, y'all can hear me. I'm sure on Instagram, y'all would have already told me. But disc releases this week, we have In the Bag podcast, Pigs and Zones. Funny enough, because basically Brad loves the zone, Robbie loves the pigs, so head to head, a little head to head battle going on there between the pig and the zone within In the Bag. So both of them dropped this week. So if you're a fan of the In the Bag podcast, make sure you get your vote in by buying whether the pig or the zone. I'm sure they'll have some friendly banter going on back and forth between those two. The Inova Gorgon or Gorgon, not really sure how to pronounce it, releases this week. Very excited about that personally. I have seen it fly. I haven't had a chance to throw it yet, but it feels really comfortable. I walked over and grabbed a few. They feel really good. And the flight that I've seen everyone else getting out of them makes me think that I'm going to absolutely love it. So exciting week for that. The end of a restock that I started talking about last week will continue to go up this week. Well, we don't have like a super busy week. So I would imagine we'll be able to get a lot of this end of a restock up, which is exciting because there's a whole lot of frisbees. We talked about last week, the top 25 Innova was missing, and that was like the number one thing people were surprised by was that there was no Innova in the top 25. And I was explaining, well, I think it's because we just didn't have much Innova on the site. That all changes. It's all over at the warehouse. It's just getting it up on the site. So super exciting about that. This is actually, I haven't even had coffee yet this morning because I got up this morning and ran. And as soon as I got back, then it was going to be too close where I would have had like back-to-back coffees. So I'm actually just kind of mentally waking up right now. But we also have the new shirts dropping this week. I say just new shirts. I don't know if we're going to do more than just shirts. We're definitely going to do a little bit of other merch, probably put some on the mugs. I showed the designs last week, but I wanted to poll the audience a little bit here as I keep going through. We got these flags for our office. And I don't know if this is something that we should also drop. So these are the designs. This is what's on the back of the shirt. It's all or nothing on this one, right? So that's on the back of one of the shirts. And then the other one, as I fold this up, the other one here is, let me just throw this over my desk. Other one is Foundation Disc Golf, building your game since 2019. Both of these are like my two favorite designs I think we've ever done. So these are going to be on shirts, like I said. But should we also drop the flags to the public? I mean, as you can tell, I'm a simp for when I like a brand, I buy a flag. So I don't know. Am I the only person that does that? Or should we do them? The flags, they turned out great. They're really good quality. So I don't know. We might also have some flags on the site. If you're looking for something to decorate your walls with, I think both of these made really good flags. So, but regardless, that's what's on the back of the t-shirts that are dropping this weekend. And like I said, we're going to have a few other pieces of merch hitting the site too. So, excited stuff there. Let me get back to current on Instagram. Release the flags. Flags, yes. Okay. All right. People want the flags. So you know what? I think we're going to release the flags. I think we're going to drop the flags too. I already got the designs cooked up and everything. So it's an easy click of a button. So shirts, flags, and I'll probably put at least the it's all or nothing on a coffee mug because I mean, that's just too easy. That's too easy. We gotta do that too. So a lot of merch with those designs will be hitting the site this weekend. I think that's gonna be sick. Really excited about that. Some of the best merch I think we've made in quite a while. And then the subscription boxes are all getting shipped out. We've already seen. I was setting OBS up this morning, which you don't know what OBS is. It's basically like a software that lets you stream to YouTube instead of I'm just streaming straight on YouTube. Instagram, it just wouldn't work. But the reason I was gonna get it set up this morning is because this month's subscription box, if you aren't aware, is the Birdie or Die box. And basically, you get every month you get 3 premium discs plus a subscription item or plus a swag item. Sorry. And this month, 2 of them are custom stamped. One of them is the Birdie or Die. The other stamp's one we've only released in store before, but they're all white discs, or like this one's glow. I think the zone's clear. But they come with an like emergency die kit, so it comes with enough die and the tutorial for you to die the discs yourself, which is super cool. I think it's a I'm really happy with how it all came together. The skull and crossbones has the like foundation logo in the eyes too, which is very fun. So people have been posting to the Foundation Nation Facebook group, which if you're not a part of that, you should join in. Their different dies, like the results they've been getting. And so I was gonna throw some of those up on the screen, but I couldn't get it set up in time. So, but they've stuff's been turning out great. But if you don't know about our subscription box, basically, like I said, $45 gets you 3 premium discs plus a swag item each and every month. And from the business perspective, what they when we first started, the subscription boxes weren't big enough for us to be able to do how we wanted. So we tried our best, and we just kind of like, you know, made it a really low margin product to start at the beginning because we wanted it to have that high quality and have a theme. And so every month, what we do is like we've already planned out several months in advance, and we plan out the theme, and then we hand select discs to fit within that theme. And then we custom stamp typically at least one. Like I said, this box has 2, but they're always 3 premium discs. Anytime we've ever done a baseline disc, we include a second baseline disc in there. So make sure you get your value out of it. But the reason that we're so intentional with that is like, I know I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus with this statement, but I know in disc golf, like mystery boxes, subscription boxes, as a retailer, a lot of times that can just be a way to get dead inventory out of your warehouse and get some cash back in. And we did not want this subscription box to be that at all. We never wanted it to be that. And so we are literally ordering discs specifically for these subscription boxes. So when we set the theme, we then go and hunt for discs that fit that theme and that are going to line up. And so you can trust that when you're getting the subscription box in, they've been handpicked. And some of the discs aren't going to be as popular discs. Like we've done underrated box like 2 or 3 times because to me those are super fun, which are discs that like one of them I think one of them were like oldies but goodies, which are molds that aren't talked about anymore just because they're older molds. And so we reached out to like Millennium, Inova, and I think it might have been Discraft might have been the third one we used there. And yeah, it was because we used the Predator. And they were discs that we genuinely love and that we all like have thrown or currently throw, but are just getting overlooked. And so like that's one example. We've done like the Robbie C box, the Connor box was the birth of the Connor Shaman, so on and so forth. But the point I'm trying to get across is people sometimes can be scared of subscription boxes because you're like, well, I don't want to just get, oh, sick, you had, what's a disc sitting around? I have a Zeus on my desk. Sick, you had 150 Zeuses chilling around. Yeah, I wonder what next month's subscription box is going to be. We didn't want that stigma, and I understand why that exists. And so I'm trying to just make sure I drive home. We're ordering these discs specifically for the subscription boxes. When they come in, that's all they're used for. They come in and they go out for the subscription boxes. So if you haven't got a part of it, we still have some available this month if you want to get in on the Birdie or Die fun. And also the July box is going to be great too. So there's my sales pitch for the subscription box. You've probably heard it 1,000 times, but hey, 1,001 never hurt nobody. What's going on at Foundation? I'll get to some questions here in a second. Sorry if this is your first one. I do like a spiel of updates on behind the scenes, why we're making decisions we're making, so on and so forth, and then hit the questions. So there's really big news coming within the next 2 weeks. We've officially locked in a date for what it is. Almost just filled it. So we officially locked in the date. So now you all just have to wait for the marketing to start to figure out what it is. But big news coming in the next few weeks. Very excited about that. And I can now share with you one of I said there was like I think I said like three big things coming. I can finally share one of them with you. Okay, because this weekend we're gonna officially launch it to the public. A lot of you already know about it. A lot of you have already seen it. But we have an app on the App Store and on Google. You can find it. Just search Foundation Disc Golf. If you're watching on YouTube, you can actually find a link in the description down below. Um, and so we're gonna start pushing it this weekend, but it won't hurt to go ahead and get in there and start messing around with it early. Our patrons already have gotten in there and messed around with it. We just have like one or two minor bug fixes that we're trying to get before this weekend. That's why we're not launching it right now. But it's live to the public. It's good enough for us to launch it to the public, and then this weekend we'll have it perfected to really push it and drive a lot of traffic to it. But why do we have an app? Great question. I'm glad y'all asked. Basically, it's a way to have all of Foundation in one place, and it just makes it a little bit more convenient for you shopping on your phone. So there's ways to listen to the podcast on there. There's ways to watch the most recent YouTube videos on there, all within the app. And then what gets us really excited is there's some additional features that we weren't able to add to our website that we were able to add to the app. One of the big ones is wish list. So you can go on, and if you see a disc and you're like, I don't really know if I want it, whatever. I don't really want to, even with Foundation Care, I don't want to buy it yet. You can just heart it and it'll add it to your wish list. And then you can easily add stuff from your wish list to your cart. And we're actually going to be doing something really cool with the wish list when we launch it this weekend. So you can go ahead and start loading up your wish list a little bit, just heads up there. But there's also for us on the back end, like we can send direct notifications to the app. So that's exciting for like, you won't miss out on new releases. If you turn notifications on, you won't miss out on new releases. We can also do sales, app specific sales. So be able to just go straight to the app. That's super exciting. But the thing that really pushed us over the edge of like, we got to do this is we will be able to live stream to the app. So we can live stream basically straight through the app. And with that live stream, it's going to be much more like focused live stream. So if you ever watched our sales-a-thons, right? We have the sales-a-thon and there's all these drops and stuff happening. And if you want to go shop the site, you got to leave the live stream, go over there. Well, now what we can do is we can do the sales-a-thon and go live on YouTube, but we can also go live within the app. And if you're in the app, what's super sick about this is if you're in the app, you can be watching the live stream on your phone. And then you can have the live chat at the bottom, the live stream at the top. And when we're talking about a product or like whatever next release is or next drop, there'll actually be a pop out that comes out on the live stream. And you're able to click that, scroll, shop, whatever, and it'll replace just the live chat section with you shopping. So you'll be able to shop all these new drops without leaving the live stream, because you know how sales-a-thons are, right? Like it just boop, 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 boop. We have stuff going on all the time. So you can actually shop within the app without leaving the live stream, which is super exciting. And then I'm sure as we have an app and more stuff comes out, there'll be more and more features. We have a few things that we're still working on tweaking, but super excited about that. So if y'all want to go ahead, the app's live. You can just go into your app store, Google or Apple, search Foundation Disc Golf, download it, and yeah, it's just a more convenient way. We also have some like tailored collections we're putting in there. We'll probably launch those on the site too, but like right now you can go in and find the staff favorites, which is just an updated list of like all of Foundation staff. What are the favorite discs that people are throwing in there, which I think that's cool. We're probably going to start doing updated bag collections. So like my bag, I'll try to update that as frequently as I switch out discs. So you can like go in and live shop what's in my bag. We'll try to do that with Brody and Trevor and stuff. And it's just way easier to navigate and shop the site, in my opinion, in the app. So super excited about that. Like I said, we're going to do a like launch this weekend, and there's going to be a bunch of different promos and giveaways and stuff like that happening, but it won't hurt to already be in the app right now. So if you're interested in that, if you shop on Foundation a lot on your phone, it'll just make your life easier. So we're super excited about that. That was one of the big things that was coming down the pipeline. So gave you a little early access. Don't you worry. All right, what else we got? We also, personally, I've been reading, I should have brought it in, the book Day Trading Attention. It just came out. It's a new book from Gary Vee. If you don't know Gary Vee, marketing genius. He just released a new book called Day Trading Attention. And one thing I want to talk about it, because I've also been doing some like social media coaching. And so I've been helping a few different people, hopping on coaching calls, and I think like it what he's saying in the book, what I'm pulling out, is a lot of what's tying specifically to some of the coaching calls I've been on. Where I think the easiest way to sum it up is basically just the importance of brand. I think that's what social media really can do is it can build a brand loyalty and build a tie to a brand that will eventually convert to sales. People get mixed up and think that the point of social media is to just one-on-one sell when like the point of social media is to build an audience, build a community, kind of like, back in the day, if you had the best coffee shop in the town or the best diner, right? And you're in a small town, like word of mouth was going to spread and people were all going to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. And like that was one of the most effective ways of marketing in history, in my opinion, has always been word of mouth. There's nothing stronger than, I mean, it's how I've gotten into so many brands that I am diehard loyal to was because someone I trusted, one of my good friends, got into them first and then told me about it. And then I discovered them. And next thing you know, I'm now the biggest preacher of said brand, right? That has always been one of the best vehicles for marketing. Well, social media is just a different form of word of mouth, in my opinion, because it basically every app has ways for people to share. And when people share something, it's just like word of mouth. It's not as powerful as me telling you something in person, but it has that same essence. And the importance of it is building content and creating a content strategy that builds your brand with, obviously as a business your end goal is sure sales and revenue and all of that, right? But that's fine. That's not your main goal of social media though. Like that's the like that should spill out to this, but social media is all about building a community and bringing people in and building brand awareness. And some of the stuff that was being talked about in day trade and attention, actually let me get to a few examples first. So one of the brands for me, you see the flag behind me. This flag is from a brand called BPN, Bear Performance Nutrition. And I know Jason who works for us is a huge BPN guy. I can't remember if he introduced me. He's been a BPN guy well before I was. So I'm sure I heard him talk about them and saw him wearing their gear. I can't remember if he's the one who told me to like go watch Nick Bear, their founder's stuff, or if I stumbled on it and then we connected on it. But regardless, Jason was definitely a big connection for me finding BPN. Um, but as I got into endurance training, as I got into, training for my first marathon and stuff like that, BPN had a bunch of content because you can watch Nick Bear, their founder. He documented basically his different marathon training. So you can go watch him training for his first marathon. You can watch him training for his Ironman. I think when I was training for my marathon, he was training to go like sub 245 at CIM. And so you can like watch all this stuff. And that got me bought into BPN. Like I was watching his content, and in his content, there was subliminal sales, right? Because he's talking about like every day he uses this product, and before every run, he uses this product and whatever. But what it came down to is like now I personally only use BPN supplements. Why? Well, I've tried other proteins. They're just as good, right? Like there's I personally probably biased. I think some of the BPN stuff tastes better, but there's a lot of products that BPN offers that other places offer that taste just as good, that work just as well, whatever. So why do I only use BPN? Well, because I've bought into the mission. I've bought into who they are as a company, what they're committed to doing, and basically their vision and where they're going. I've bought in to where I am happily spending a little bit more money to support something that I believe in and I bought in. How did I get here? Because of content. The content they put out let me relate to who Nick was, Nick Bear, and then through that relate to the team he had built and relate to the struggles he's going through and relate to the business, which then created this brand loyalty that is unshakable, right? Like I've switched my gels to Go Gels, which is their gel. I've before every run that is humid like it is during the summer or is going to be long, then I use their like G1M Sport. I used to use Honey Stinger waffles. Absolutely loved them. Thought I would never change. They came out with Go bars. Next thing you know, Honey Stinger waffles gone. And most of the stuff I'm paying more for, but I'm happily doing it because of how much I love their brand. That's the power of brand. Another power of brand moment. If you're a golfer, a golf fan, you just saw Bryson DeChambeau win the U.S. Open. This Bryson DeChambeau's turnaround should be studied by people trying to build a personal brand, because this has been crazy. Basically, from the outside looking in, I'm not a super diehard golf fan, but I've seen Bryson and Brooksy back in the day, like that whole thing, and then where we're at now. And just even hearing my friends who are bigger fans talk about Bryson, everything shifted. So what happened? Well, realistically, the big thing was he started a YouTube channel, more or less. It kind of comes down to this. He started a YouTube channel that let his true self shine through more instead of other people controlling the narrative around him. He was able to talk directly to an audience, build a massive audience, become very likable. And then what's crazy is at the US Open, stuff that he used to get flamed for, he's now getting praised for. One of the things was he's always talked about stuff like this, and he used to get flamed for it, drug over the coals. Everyone thought that he was just a geek. Everyone thought it was so stupid, whatever. And now people are like, think it's the coolest thing ever. He like floats his golf balls, right? To see like which side of the golf ball is slightly heavier. And then he'll mark the top side so that he knows this side's lighter. So he can position the golf ball when he hits it a certain way so that it'll change the flight. Or that when he's putting, it'll roll a certain way, right? For someone like me, I got 1,000 things to worry about before I'm floating golf balls. But for him, does it really make a difference? Probably not, but it's a mental shift, right? And before, that was something where he would say something like that in an interview and get flamed for it. Well, he just said that in an interview before the US Open or during the US Open, and the comments are all like loving it. And the only thing that shifted was he used social media to build a personal brand, and now he is wildly popular, like crazy popular. And what's even crazier is he's a live golf guy, which the golf world, like everyone who went to live golf basically except for Bryson has been like stiff armed, more or less. And now Bryson's kind of done this huge turnaround, wins the US Open, and like, I mean, he's running around with the US Open trophy. Like the whole weekend was just like the guy couldn't do any wrong. And all of this stuff basically would have annoyed people previously, but it all shifted because the lens that the public perceives him in shifted. And what shifted that lens was social media and him letting himself through. And once he let himself through into the public more, then what the public used to perceive as annoying and over the top now perceives as dedicated, and they love it all through brand. So some highlights from day trading attention kind of reiterates this, and then we'll get to some questions here. First one, these are like some quotes from day trading attention. First one, it says, social media is just an empty vessel. You only get out of it what you put into it. Without putting in the work to understand these platforms and the psychology of the people using them, you're just creating a bunch of content that no one will ever see. We've all been there, right? Anyone who's created content, we've all put content out and we're just throwing it out, hoping it sticks. And then when it doesn't stick, we're like, that was annoying. I just put all this work into something no one ever saw, because we're throwing it out and hoping it sticks instead of doing the strategy behind knowing this is going to stick. Also, it said content alone is not enough. Content that scales brand relevance is the goal. So that's like what I was just talking about. The content, building the brand is the goal with social media. Why build the brand? Okay, well, down here, I think this is the next one. So yeah, this is these last two kind of both reiterate the same thing in two different sentences, but this is the more aware people are of your product, the less your CAC will be. CAC is customer acquisition cost. Basically, how much is going to cost you to turn that viewer into a customer. The more organic content you put out and the more brand awareness you raise, the less it's going to cost you to turn one of those people into a customer, because they now have already went through the process via social, through the stuff you're putting out, to become aware. So when that ad hits them, you don't have to now explain who you are, explain why you do what you do. You've already laid that groundwork. Now you can ask way earlier because you've already done all the hard work before. And this is, like I said, a second way of saying it is by putting out relevant content, you can drive down the customer acquisition cost of your ads. Same thing. So basically, the content builds the brand awareness then lowers the customer acquisition cost, allowing you to market more effectively, and you're able to test organically content on social. I wasn't planning on nerding out this much, but anyways, hopefully someone's enjoying it. You're able to test organically on social to see what hits home and what is moving the needle for people, and then use that in whatever advertising front you do. So whatever advertising platforms you have, you can pre-test organically, and if it flops, it flops. Who cares? The only thing you lost was your time that you put into creating that piece of content, telling that story. If it hits, great. Now you can put money behind it confidently wherever you're driving traffic with, whatever your paid advertising is, because you've already tested the story. Um, so, anyways, that's just what I'm reading personally. Day trade attention, absolutely love it. Let's get into some questions here. People are already talking about the app some, which is awesome. Having a functional app is always a good thing. Difficult to fit it all on one website. Super excited to explore the app more. Just download the app and made my first order. Thank you, Old Man Disc Golf. That's awesome. Todd said, app's a great addition to the already awesome foundation company. Thank you, Todd. Really appreciate that. And there was a good question here. Eric said, is there a way in the app to set a notification when an out of stock or new release disc is available? So new release will happen. When new releases are coming out, we're going to send notifications out when those happen. We're trying to work on the out of stock, right? Because right now the problem we ran into with the app is the out of stock notification capabilities are variant specific. But for us, let's say, so this is a Zeus, right? A pink ESP Zeus with like, I don't know what this, I'll just call it the gradient stamp. I don't know what the stamp's technically called. Pink ESP Zeus gradient stamp, and it's probably like 173. So that's a very specific disc. So how we work on our back end is we don't know, because you're doing a picture of every disc, we don't know if we'll see this disc again. So when the next shipment of Zeus's come in, it's way easier to delete all variants and recreate, because now we might have a blue 173 gradient stamp Zeus, or this pink one like gradient stamp Zeus is actually now only 170. So like this variant might never come back in stock again, even though the Zeus is coming back in stock. But because that's a very unique thing with how the app really retail works, most people they have their set variant, like a brown grip locked hoodie size large, that's going to come back in stock, right? Like that's a very common variant you're going to have back in. Because we have such niche and specific variants, we operate differently. And as of right now, we're trying to find a fix for it. But as of right now, the out of stock, like restock notifications, are all variant specific, not product specific, which makes sense, because like if I wanted a hoodie again, like of course I don't want to know when a extra small hoodie comes back in stock, because that's never going to fit me. So I don't want to know when the hoodie in general is back in stock. I only want to know when this brown size large hoodie's back in stock. It makes sense for everyone but disc golf. So hopefully there is a way in the future. Unfortunately, not right now. Declip KC said, morning, something to think on. Coming to Worlds, will there be an 18th? We'll be there on the 18th and need a guest to play Ivy with me. No need to comment or got me now. I don't know. Don't know if that's going to work. We have a lot of content. A lot of content we're filming. Mike Love said, is it fair to say your bag leads more overstable in general? My bag? Probably technically. I would say I throw more understable discs, but if I have an understable disc, I can work it on so many angles that, like let's say the Zeus was flippy. If I need it to go left, I can put it on more hyzer. If I need it to go straight, less hyzer. If I need it to turn, less hyzer. So that just accomplishes a lot of shots with one disc. Whereas my overstable discs, I throw on slight hyzer, because that's just how I release. So like I need one that I can crank on Annie and it's going to flex out, but that one on slight hyzer is going to dump. So then I need one on slight hyzer that's going to push and then fade. And then I need one on slight hyzer that's going to always hyzer. So I just need more discs, because I don't throw on varied levels of Annie. I have an hyzer and I have a like flat to slight hyzer, but I have a bunch of hyzer angles. So my bag leads more overstable. My game leads more understable. Shay said, is the app able to support affiliate links? That's a great question, Shay, that I don't know. The only way to test it would be to click on an affiliate link and see if it opens it in the app. But initial answer I would say is no, but we'll try to look into that. Eric Horn said, who can I email to thank for the great customer service with the subscription box? You can send it to support@foundationdisc.com, which is probably who you talk to for the customer service. And that'll go to Jason, who is who you talk to. So you can thank them directly, and then typically those get forwarded on to me or Brad, so that um, we can give credit to where credit's due for whatever the resolution was for whatever the problem was. Shay, I would love some Kevin Jones rumors, please. All right, let's see here. Get back to current over here on Instagram. Ollie Bro said might be coming down to Liberty for medical school, so might see y'all around soon. Cool. You should look into the disc golf team when you get down here. Although medical school, you probably don't have time, but hey. Ready to throw down on debate night tonight. Best get that internet ready. My internet's never ready, but I'm always ready. I'll win even with bad internet. Oop. Focus. Focus. Lock in. It's not gonna lock in. Sorry, my YouTube went blurry. Let's see. Shay says Kevin Jones to Inova. Here's my take. Here's my opinion. Okay, I personally don't think. I don't think Kevin Jones is going to another manufacturer. Personally, because he's leaving mid-season, he had another year and a half on his contract. So what I think is going to end up happening is I think he's already on Team OTB. I'm pretty sure. I think that Kevin Jones is just going back to open bag. He used to be on Team Pro Discus back in the day, and he was bombing, destroyers, bosses, stuff like that, and then was throwing to like Jokery and stuff. And I think that where Kevin's at, because originally I thought maybe he's just going to be a DJ. Maybe he's just hanging it up and it's like, you know what? I'm done. I got this opportunity to go on tour with someone and be a DJ. I'm out of disc golf. But he responded back to a comment and said, "You think I'm out? Like, no, announcement coming soon," which would say he's not leaving the sport. So then what I think is going to happen is I think that this is a move where maybe he's just getting burnt out, and he feels like maybe his game was at its best, because there's a lot of mental side of golf and disc golf, right? So maybe he felt that he was playing at his best and his game had the fullest potential, that when he had a mixed bag. And so maybe he just wants to get back to the mixed bag, and he's just like, it's burning, because like if he's performing at a bad level, if he's performing at a low level, which for Kevin Jones, the level he's performing at is subpar. Like he should be a lot better of a player than he's performing. Then that could be enough for Prodigy to be like, look, we're fine getting out of this thing early too. It could have just been a mutual agreement where KJ's like, look, I want to just get back to throwing a mixed bag. I'm done. Like I'm burnt out. I really just want something to reignite the love of disc golf in me. Prodigy's like, hey, you know what? This isn't really working out anyways. We're cool with it if you're cool with it. And then if he goes mixed bag, like I said, he's already on Team OTB. So a lot of people were saying probably go to Infinite. I'd have a hard time seeing him leave Prodigy and OTB to go to Infinite, but I could see him leave Prodigy and rock with just OTB for the rest of the year, and then see what happens in the off season. So, if he goes to Innova, I'll be very surprised, because it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. He could, because Shay's saying he'll be promoting the rebranded original Discmania molds, but like those things, the Metal Warrior and all of that, like I don't see Innova putting time and energy into promoting those at all right now. And they've been out for, pretty much ever since, as soon as Discmania went to make their own plastic, like Innova had those, and they haven't put a bunch of, like, if they would have, that was the time to hit right then, because like I grabbed the Metal Warrior. Now I'm already throwing the new C-Line MD3. You missed me. I'm gone. I'm off the scene. You already missed your window to promote that stuff to me. So if he goes to Innova, I feel like they have plenty of other stuff to push other than the new rebranded stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we'll find out here soon. Reed from Swanky said OTB top comment on his Insta post, worst kept secret. Yeah, I think that's where I'm thinking. That's what I think is about to happen. And I genuinely think that could be a good unlock for Kevin. I think that could be something where, because there is something when, as a disc golfer, you get like an old disc back in your hands that you used to throw when you were like at the top of your game. Like for me, I was a much better player in college than I am now. I played a lot more in college. I'm not going to say I was a good player in college, but I was a much better player than I am currently in college. So when I get a disc in my hand that I threw back then, I instantly have more confidence in that disc because I've seen it do things that I can't do anymore. And so, like, obviously, it's not the disc. Obviously, it's me. But now I feel confident because I know I have thrown this disc and it has done X, Y, and Z. That could be a huge confidence boost to players because, like I said, disc golf and golf, very mental sport. So it'll be interesting. Very interesting to keep an eye on, though. Oh, Disc by Emily said, I heard you confused me and Jillian from Happy Tree Dies at Music City. Don't worry, you aren't the only one. I did. I did. I didn't understand. I didn't know I hadn't met you. For some reason, Happy Tree was you. So sorry to you and to what was her name, Jillian. Yeah, sorry to both of y'all. I think I have a. I think you've sent me discs before. I definitely have a because I did know her. She's from. I've met her. I went to what was it called, Crazy something in Indiana, and like they were dying discs in the back, and I picked up a Rico. I just got it. I just got it all confused. Got it all mixed up. Is what it is. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Very interesting to see what happens with Kevin Jones. Did not see that coming at all, at all. Let me see. I think I might have missed some comments. Come to Idlewild. Idlewild's a must. Echo Valley's #2 course in Ohio, 45 minutes north. Uh, I've been to Idlewild. I actually played Idlewild back in the day. Dropped out, hurt my knee, but I would love to go back to Idlewild. We had it on the like Bogey Bro Battle vote thing. Was Cincinnati the which I know I think Idlewild's technically not in Cincinnati. I think it's in, like technically in Kentucky, but it's on the border there. Um, but it lost. It lost. So we might end up coming in the future, but I don't know. Uh, I'd love to come back to Idlewild. Great course. Any recommendations for dyeing stencils, dyeing styles for the box? I so if you aren't a part of the Foundation Nation Facebook group page, you can just go to Facebook, search Foundation Nation. There's a bunch of people posting their dyes in there that they've got with the dye box. And there's been some sick ones. So you can kind of use that for inspiration because it's people using exactly what we had sent. The coolest one I saw was the someone did like this crazy swirl one, and they like had like the red and blue like swirled, and it was on the Innova. It was on the blank like the white top Innova. Um, and it was sick. It was sick. That's probably the coolest one I've seen, but there's been a lot of really, really cool ones. Have I ever played any courses in Nashville, Tennessee? Just curious. No, I haven't played any disc golf down there. I went for Music City, but I didn't get a chance to play. I was there visiting I was there visiting friends who have since moved back here. So it was like our hey, if we're ever gonna go see Nashville, we need to go now. So we went there, hung out with them, and then I watched Music City. So it's kind of popping back and forth, but didn't get to play disc golf. Moniker said you should probably just tell us what's in the mystery box this month. I did, Moniker. You missed it. I'm sorry. I did. Here, I'll show you one of the discs. There you go. LCS said you should do a Bogey Bro battle in the Pittsburgh area. We should, because Pittsburgh, that's actually the first Worlds I ever watched was the 2015 Worlds. Why'd the camera go out of focus again? Oh, well. 2015 Worlds up in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh area. Um, so I would love to go play some of those courses. All-time favorite disc, Joey said. Thunderbird. Thunderbird's my all-time favorite mold. My all-time favorite Thunderbird was this 2014 Color Glow Paul Macbeth like world champ commemorative Thunderbird. The closest I found is that I have a pink Henna Blomroos Color Glow champ Thunderbird in my bag. It's plenty close, but that one was incredible. So it was like a 2014 World's commemorative stamp. Paul gave it to me when in like 2016 or 2017. I threw the crap out of it. I lost it. Someone on the disc golf team found it on Liberty's disc golf team. Great. I'm going to get it back. He then dropped out of school, moved back to West Virginia, and I haven't seen him since. And he has the Thunderbird. So it's gone. It's one of my saddest things. I want that disc back so bad. Why won't this focus? There we go. It just likes the disc. It wants to focus on the disc. So that's my all-time favorite disc. Wish I still had it. It's gonna be a Hall of Fame monthly match this month. Yeah, there should be the Calendly thing where Hall of Fame members can sign up. Should be out there. Um, should be. I don't control that, so I don't know, but I mean, I think we gave him a date. I think we have the date out there. Um, so do I ever go to Liberty hockey games? I've been to like one or two. I'm not a big hockey guy. My brother's really into hockey, so he probably goes. I know Brad was really into hockey. He goes to a lot of hockey games, but I should probably get into hockey more. Liberty's hockey team's kind of dirty, um, but haven't ever been. Are we going to Ledgestone this year? We are not. We're not going to Ledgestone this year. I need to go back to Ledgestone. It's another tournament I've been to before that I need to work on getting back. Love the Foundation Thunderbird I got from Mystery Box. Awesome. Which state has the best iced tea? Well, now that I know that iced tea is also sweet tea, um, probably like Georgia. I don't know. I mean, my all-time favorite. Now, iced tea can be kind of anything, right? So my all-time favorite iced tea is Arnold Palmer, which is technically made by Arizona. I don't know if they're made in Arizona, but something about there. What's a good far-flying, overstable mid? The disc I use for that slot is the Quake from DGA. This disc in this month's subscription box is actually a Mint Discs Bobcat, and I think that kind of fits that slot. It's I think a 5-speed, nice and overstable. But I use a Quake. I think that's a really good option. MD4 from Discmania. I don't actually know if they re-released it. They might have released the MD5. They might have released an S line. If you love the MD4, I think Millennium has the old MD4 mold. I think it's the or at least one really close to it, which is the gosh, what's the name of that disc? It's a Quantum Solstice, I think. I think the Solstice is pretty close. So that's a good one too. But Graham Fam 5G said, "How do I come to terms with my noodle arm and just embrace lightweight, lower speed discs?" It seems that you know the answer to your question. You just need to embrace lightweight, lower speed discs. You just got to do it. What I think the key is not necessarily lightweight. You can get plenty of work out of heavier stuff, but lower speed's crucial. I think the best thing to do is go to a field, take your like 5 to 7 speeds with you, and then take your dream discs, take your destroyer, take your force, take whatever out there with you, right? And just rip on them. And then when you inevitably discover that your 7 to 9 speeds are going farther than your destroyers, that makes it pretty easy to accept it. Because like even for me, I bag destroyers and stuff, right? And if I like lean into a destroyer, it goes farther, right? But on most golf lines, my Thunderbird is my farthest flying disc. Like on most lines that like I'm just throwing a like flat or like a slight hyzer. If I'm going out to a field, like I can get my Thunderbird. The difference between my Thunderbird and my Destroyer is like negligible or whatever that word is. Like it's non-existent. Like I can throw a Thunderbird probably 410, somewhere in that range, 410 to 420, and my Destroyer is probably going to go like 430 to 450, but it's going to be less consistent because I like the feel of a 9-speed more. So I ended up just throwing 12 speeds because that's what the pros do, and it's bad for my game. Michael Holt said, "Fastest disc I throw backhand is an 11, but 7 to 9 speeds are so much more consistent with distance." Yeah, I experience the same thing. Like I throw 12 speeds, but like when I'm going out to New London and I'm trying to break 68, right? I'm going out there with like a mission in mind. I'm trying to play my best golf. It's similar to golf for me, right? Like if you're a good like top level pro, yeah, you're going to be able to control a 12 speed and control stuff like that just as much. But for us normal folk, a 7 to 9 speed is just like when I go play golf. If I'm trying to play good golf, I don't take my driver out of the bag. I only hit my irons. Why? I'm way more consistent with my irons. It's similar with fairway drivers and mid ranges in disc golf. Like I'm going to be sacrificing probably at most 50 to 70 feet at most between my drivers and my 9 speeds or 7 speed, realistically like 20 to 30 feet. for much more accuracy, like a lot higher accuracy. So why would I that's not really a worthy sacrifice. Like why am I trying to get 20 to 30 feet farther down the fairway, but now I don't know where it's going? Or I can just go, I know this is going in the middle, but it's going to be 20 feet shorter. Like I would take that all day. I feel like most people would. Shay for the overstable approach disc at the Castleclass Nord is also a good option. Knegan said, I can throw mid-range and approaches without a problem, but when I get to drivers, I can't throw them. Just flips over. What do I need to think about? Throwing pretty fast. Interesting. Are you throwing forehands or backhands, Negan? Or Knegan? I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. But forehands or backhands? Because that could be some different backhand. Okay. Interesting. So mid-ranges and approaches, you have no problem. But when you get to drivers, you just flip over. I would say most likely what it sounds like is your form changes between the two. So it's kind of, again, not to keep using golf, but golf's where it happens to me the most. Like when I have it happened in disc golf somewhat, but in golf, when I have a 7-iron in my hand, my swing is way more smooth, way more confident, and my slice, my swing path, everything gets fixed. Then I put a driver in my hand, and subconsciously I think I'm trying to hit this far, so therefore I try to hit it hard, and then my swing changes and my path comes all out of whack. My club face gets open, and I come from out to in, and it goes places it shouldn't go. It sounds like that is probably a similar thing that's happening within disc golf. Is like when you have a mid range in your hand, you just feel confident, you know where it's supposed to go, and you're just going slow and smooth, and you're just smoothing it out there, and it's working well for you. And then you get a driver in your hand, and you're thinking, grip and rip, it's time to like put this one down the fairway, right? And then that's when you turn your wrist over or like do something weird with your hand. Most likely, if you're turning it over, people get confused sometimes because for a disc to turn, a lot of times what it can be is just the momentum of the disc. I don't fully understand how it works, but I just know this is what happens to me. Um, it mainly happens with forehands, right? With off-axis torque, it can happen with backhands though, because even if I'm on hyzer, but the last thing I do as the disc is coming out of my hand is I pop my hand up, and then the disc comes up like that to the last second. It can still come out on hyzer, but because the last thing I'm doing to the disc is like that, like if I were to do this, right, and I were just to plop the disc up and I keep that consistent, but then I plop the disc up like that, it's going to flip, even though it's probably releasing from my hand somewhere in this range on both. If the last thing I do is pop, then the disc has now momentum to get up, even with the spin. And with that, then it's going to flip. So I would say that's probably some type of issue. There can also be, depending on the drivers you're throwing, there can also be that mid ranges just have more high speed torque, whatever mids versus drivers you're throwing. But I would try that. I would try to just focus on keeping your form the same. Maybe go to like 6 and 7 speeds as your drivers, and it should be easier to keep your form the same there. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Negan said it feels like he does that. So I should go more controlled and slower with the swing tree, like mid range. Exactly. Let the disc do the work, right? If you have enough power, like for me, if I'm throwing my mid, right, I can get this mid to 350. I know that I can. If all I do is switch that to a 7 speed, that power is going to carry that 7 speed to 375, and that power is going to carry that 9 speed far enough because I'm throwing like I don't need to change my form to throw harder. In disc golf, and same thing in golf, like in golf, the loft of the club and all that's changing it. In disc golf, the speed of the rim, the wind resistance, all that is changing the distance for you. So you can throw this crazy hard and then throw your driver crazy hard, and they're going to go different distances. So if you're smoothing the mid and it's working, just smooth the driver and find a driver that works that swing. Is how it should be, in my opinion. Graham Pham said, any tips on really focusing on nose down? My arm speed's fine for my crave, but I still feel so stable. I'm assuming it's nose angle. Um, Okay, I'm not a form guy. I'm not a form guy. So we're getting a lot of coaching questions here, and honestly, I'll give my best answer, but if I contradict what coaches are saying, listen to them because I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. So just something to think about. Uh, so a lot of times for me, what I found is my nose angle at release is directly correlated to my pull through. So if I reach back level and I pull through level, I have a good nose angle. If when I personally have nose up issues is when I reach down and pull up. That's what happens to me. So what I found is a drill that I did to get rid of my nose up issues was I threw it into the ground. So I would pick a spot 20 feet in front of me, literally into the ground. And I would do my whole run up. And the goal was I'm trying to throw it into that spot like 20, 30, whatever, 50 feet in front of me. Bad form. I'm just ripping it into the ground. Okay, I did that. Sick. Got it. Now I'm going to pick a spot 60 feet out in front of me. Now I'm throwing it into the ground out there. And I'm just trying to rip it down to the ground, down to the ground. Once I can do that, great. Now I'm picking a spot 100 feet out there. And I'm trying to throw it into the ground. And next thing you know, my spot's 300 feet out there. I'm trying to throw it into the ground to get it to that 300-foot mark. And now my nose is coming out at least flat or slightly down. That's what I did to fix my issues. I know there's some people that like have grip, right? Like some people's grips naturally up when your grip should be like down, right? So I know that can be a thing too. For that, just focus on your hand placement. If your disc is like to how I think about it is um how do I think about it? I just kind of do it to be straight with you. I think that's I never really thought about it. But to me, it's like my thumb. I think it's where my disc comes across in my hand. I kind of come it across. It comes across there. So then when my hand is there, it's flat. And I feel like sometimes you can get it here, where when my hand's there, it's up. So that could be a thing. But I would focus on the pull through first and try that drill. Just throw it into the ground and keep pushing until it gets farther and farther out, and see if that does it. That fixed it for me. So Big Five says Simon says to slow down your form and don't go fast, or you can mess up your timing. And if you watch Simon, I got to see him play in person. The dude throws slow and smooth. All right, we're gonna go one more question. Um, okay, well, this isn't a question. I'm just gonna answer this one for Tactical Brownie. He said, "Weird question. Are y'all helping in Worlds, and do you need volunteers?" So we aren't directly running Worlds. I do think they do need volunteers. So your best bet is probably to go through Disc Golf Scene and reach out to Nate Heinold and his team through that would probably be the easiest way to find contact information. You might also be able to find volunteer information on the actual World's website. But I think they need all the volunteers they can get. So there you go. Decker Joey said, we're going to answer this last one. I know it's kind of a dumb question, but is where you put your thumb while holding the disc important? I don't have data to back up what I'm about to tell you by any means, but what I've always found is I don't think it's crazy important because you have some pros that throw with it really close to the edge, and you have some pros that throw with it really close to the middle. Um, I I think it's the disc placement in your hand is more important than the thumb placement. So I think that as long as that's not affecting what your disc uh the way your disc sits in your hand and is coming out, I don't think it super matters. Um, for me, what I've always done is with like my mids and stuff, my thumb is just kind of in this neutral position. And then when I'm really trying to get on a disc, I have no way reason to back this up. I just This is what pros used to do, so it's what I've always done, and it works for me. So I don't know what this does tech disc wise to spin or anything like that, but if this is where my thumb typically is, when I'm really trying to get into a disc, I move it towards the middle and I push down a little bit more. I just remember watching pros talk about that and just like push down, like almost bending it, and that's what I've always done. I grip the crap out of my discs. I know a lot of people don't do that either. That's what I do. But I don't know if I'm the best person to take advice from there. But I think that as long as your thumb's on the disc, that sounds dumb, but I think as long as your thumb's not affecting, like as long as it's not like crazy out here, or crazy here where it's affecting how the disc sits in your hand. I think anywhere in this middle part's fine. But for me, the harder I throw, the more towards the middle it moves. I don't know why I do that. I just watched a pro do it once, and that's why I do it. So there it is. All right, that's the coffee break. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully I didn't break too many people's form at the end there, because like I said, I don't have data to back up what I'm saying. It's just what I've always done. So that wraps it up. Don't forget to download the app if you want to check that out. You can just search Foundation Disc Golf in your app store. You can also, if you're on YouTube, the link's in the description down below. And we have a bunch of exciting stuff with that coming this weekend. So be sure to stay tuned, and also stay tuned because there's a lot of cool announcements coming up in the next few weeks. And then this weekend, a lot of Inova restock going on, the Gorgon releases. We also have in the bag stamped pigs and zones coming out, and the subscription box. Get in on the subscription box while you can. Birdie or die this month. Very, very fun box. So other than that, we'll see you back here next week for another coffee break.